name is Carly Stevens. I'm the author of the young adult fantasy novel Firian Rising, and this is English Nerd. So today is May the 4th as I'm recording this, so I have my little tribute to my favorite character, Han Solo, right there if you're wondering what I'm doing with this pin. It is the day to represent my Star Wars fandom. So before I get started with this video, which is all about the things that I wish that I had fully heard and understood as a young writer, I just wanted to let you know that next week I'm going to be doing a collaboration with Jessie Elliott. You can check out her channel now if you would like. Be sure to subscribe to both of our channels and you'll see two sides of an interview about morally gray characters, which I think is a really interesting topic. The Owl Crate of last month was all about morally gray characters, and we all know that we enjoy reading about those. So here are the 5 things that I wish I had really understood as a high school writer. Now, I wrote all the time in elementary and junior high and high school, but I never actually realized my dream of becoming a published author until this year. This is my debut year, which is just so exciting. My childhood dream is coming true. But if I had understood these 5 things, I absolutely could have started my career earlier if I had wanted to. So the very first, not all these are pieces of advice, but the very first thing that I would have needed to hear is that life is about priorities. The older I get, the more profoundly true that sentiment becomes. Life is about priorities. You hear some people say that they can't travel, they don't have the time, they don't have the money, maybe they can't hang out with you because they don't have the time or don't have the money. Everybody has time, everybody has money, they choose to spend it in a certain way. Now, granted, there are times when it is really, really difficult to prioritize anything except what is urgent and right in front of you. Maybe you need to work an extra shift to make sure that you pay your mortgage this month, or maybe if you are a young student, you have to get that project done. There's really no way around it. Granted, but you're choosing to spend your time on that. I heard Rachel Hollis make this similar point on a podcast earlier. She's the one who wrote Girl, Wash Your Face. And it's very true. Life is about priorities. If you prioritize something, you can find the time for it. You can save up for it. You can make it happen. But it has to be a priority, which means that you can't necessarily have your cake and eat it too. You do need to sacrifice some things in order to make those priorities a priority. So when I started making writing more of a priority, I was able to get more done. And this was true in high school, actually. I did write quite a few things in high school, but that is just step 1. I needed to know that life is about priorities. What you prioritize, you'll do. Number 2 is do something small every day. Now, some people will tell you that you need to write every day. If you can do that, fantastic. You go to town. You write during your lunch. You write when you get home. That is fantastic. But I know that that's not necessarily true for everybody. Maybe you just had a really hard day and you don't feel like writing. You don't have those creative juices. So I know that that's the case for me sometimes. I'm an English teacher, as you may or may not know. I would like to write more often than I do. I still write pretty consistently, of course, but I'm always doing something. So I'm building my author platform. I'm filming this video. I am listening to podcasts. I'm reading craft books. I'm understanding more of the marketing side of things. I'm contacting different influencers about my book and seeing if they'd want to write a blog post about it or something. Basically, I'm making some kind of positive step in the direction of becoming an author every single day, even if it's something very small. So that is something that has given me a lot of momentum over time. At first, you don't necessarily see the fruits of those small little investments that you're making, but again, if you make those little investments, those daily investments priority, then over time, you are going to have over 100 videos on YouTube, like I do. You're going to have hundreds of author posts on Instagram, like I have built up over the past few months. You're going to have a book that you've finished and that you've edited because bit by bit you've gotten that done. So if you do something every day, then you'll end up making big strides in the long run. You can't think about the short game so much as you think about the long game. Where are you going to be, not in a month necessarily, but where are you going to be in a year? Do you still think that you want to be an author in 3 years? Then make those positive steps, those positive movements toward what you want. Number 3 is change your mindset. This was a game changer for me. This is what allowed me to write my book, I think. When I picked up the manuscript of Firian Rising last year, a year and a half ago now, and read it through and decided this is a good idea, I'm gonna go for it, I'm gonna make this thing happen, I changed my mindset. So I decided, okay, I'm going to write this book. I'm going to finish writing it, I'm going to edit it, I'm going to make this dream come true. I'm going to be an author. And so what I did was I told people that I was writing a book. I set a deadline, which is July 15th. That's my release date. It's coming up. And I planned backward from there. So I had positive action steps, I had accountability, I had the determination to do this and not to see any kind of setback as an absolute, but instead to be positive and learn from those things. So when I decided to view my writing as something serious and even something business-like, which is not how everybody likes to describe it, I had massive momentum going forward. And I was actually able to finish because my mindset was in the right place. So that was enormously helpful. If you want to be a published author, I think that's pretty much a necessity. You have to get into that mindset. Number 4 is something that I have been dealing with lately because I'm currently in the process. My WIP is the Firian Rising sequel, which is yet to be named. Number 4 is let your first draft be terrible. All the first draft needs to do, as I've said before and has encouraged me a lot, all the first draft has to do is exist. That's it. You can publish, or you can not publish something bad. You can edit something terrible, but you can't edit something that's not there. So just remember, your teachers aren't going to see this work, your boss isn't going to see this work, your mom's not going to see this work. Just get out a first draft. Let your first draft be terrible. Don't put false expectations on yourself to say this has to be amazing. Maybe there will be days of inspiration when you have a better writing day and you think, man, that was a really solid scene, that was really exciting or romantic or whatever the vibe you're going for is, but that's not going to be every day. And if you don't reconcile yourself to the fact that you will have some days when you're just writing garbage, then you'll never finish that draft. You never will. So just accept that the first draft is going to be terrible. Nobody's is perfect. Nobody should self-publish their first draft of anything. It's a formula for regret. So just be okay with it. Just embrace the process. I've heard some people say that it actually helps to, if you're a perfectionist and you need to kind of unlock that part of your brain that wants everything to be perfect the first time around, write in Comic Sans. It takes the pressure off because you don't feel like it's anything serious that you're writing, but it gives you momentum. You actually are moving forward in your story. So let the first draft be terrible. It's okay. The first draft of Firian Rising was a big ugly mess, and then I squished it together into something that now I'm really, really proud of. Which brings me to number 5, and that is make your final draft awesome. If there is one thing that kept me from becoming a published author in high school, it was my fear of editing. It sounded so distasteful to me to revise this massive book. So distasteful, in fact, that my writing on Firian Rising just petered out, and I stopped writing for years and years and years. It just didn't sound that great to me because I didn't love the editing process that I knew would come. It was only after I learned that editing your story actually makes it so much better, and you can watch it getting better, and you can watch the audience reaction improving with each draft. I mean, it's gotten to the point where I think I like editing more than I like first drafting. I know that's not the case for everybody, but just seeing it go from being that kind of ugly first child to actually becoming something more like what you pictured in your head, it's such an excellent feeling. So I would encourage you, let the first draft be awful, but make sure that you make the final draft awesome. Embrace the editing. Just take that positive mindset that you had developed in step 3 of my 5 things that I wish I knew, and embrace the editing. I have some videos actually about how to edit for content and not just polish off the misspellings and things like that. If you're interested, I will link that down below. What is the thing that you wish you had heard as a young writer, maybe a high school writer? Or what is something that you wonder about as a young writer yourself? Let me know in the comments below. Like this video if you like it, and make sure to subscribe to my channel. I post new videos on Mondays, so hope to see you then. Bye.